Index Card Day 2017, Creative Katie. This is card number 10, and the prompt for this one was Sunshine Yellow. Links to the products that I use, any special products, can be found in the description box. Please take time to subscribe to my channel. That way you won't miss any ICAD videos, technique tag videos, or planner videos. So I've started with my repurposed flashcard, and it has a couple coats of gesso, and I'm pulling out my yellow paints. My plan at this moment was to use the yellow paint to kind of make that sunshine yellow. And then flipping through my stencils, I came across this one, which I haven't used for a long time. It's one of the very first stencils that I purchased. And I thought, okay, that goes into the hashtag use your stash. Because one of the things I want to do is use those things that really they haven't touched ink or paint for a while. So I'm just kind of thinking about how I want to set this up. I know I want to put some texture paste through the stencil, not sure where I want it. So I grab my quotes. And just a reminder, if you haven't watched my other videos, I do, every time Daisy Yellow posts her prompts for the week, I go on to Pinterest and check up some quotations that might tie into the prompt or the theme. And I save that all to a Pinterest board. It's called ICAD Quotations, and you're more than welcome to go to my Pinterest, link in the description box, and check out those quotes if that's something that you're looking for. Maybe save you a little bit of time so that you can get on with the art of creating. And then I just type them up using dafont.com. I download some free fonts from dafont.com and type them up in different fonts and typeset. So I put the texture paste through the stencil and I tape it down just so there's less likelihood of it smudging and smearing and seepage. So I did the one side and the other side. And, I kind of put it on the top and on the bottom. And then I'm thinking, okay, well, I can flip this around and put this to the top. So sometimes play with the orientation of your page. I know in my journal, sometimes I put it horizontally, and sometimes I put it vertically. And sometimes it changes, especially once you get the background, what's going to look better. So I decide, I'm going to grab my Dilutions paints. And I know they're bright, so I'm going to mix a little white in there. In retrospect, I should have kept with my original plan, as you will see. But, I'm coating this, and I'm getting this very bright, almost neon yellow. I'm just working the brush, making sure I get the paint into all the nooks and crannies of the texture paste. Then I grab the orange because I'm thinking, okay, I want some dimension here. And I'm very lightly, almost dry brushing it on. And as I'm looking at the video, I'm thinking, okay, that actually, with a little bit more looks well. But I had this idea in my head somehow of combining pink with the sunshine yellow. That seems to be a color combination lately that's just, flavor color of the day for me anyways. So I grab my Liquitex Basic medium magenta, I believe, and I'm going to be adding that to the texture paste. I find, and maybe that was the case here, that the Dilutions paints, when they dry more vivid and bright than when they go on. Maybe it's that, maybe it's the contrast that I developed by adding this pink, and I'm not done yet. A lot of what you're seeing me doing right now kind of gets redone in later steps. I'm just edging it in the pink as well. And a quick cleanup. So I'm looking at that and I want it darker pink somehow. It's not, for some reason, it's just not where what I had in my head. And I know you guys, you all get that feeling sometimes. You don't know what's wrong. So I decide to take a fine brush and I'm just painting on top of the texture paste. Now, what I'm doing here really goes out the window at a later step, but it does show you that you can paint on top of whatever the texture paste that you use. So it's a good technique to have in your toolbox for the right application. So I'm just a little thinning the Liquitex Basics down a little bit and applying it very, very carefully onto there. Alternatively, you can take the texture paste and apply the color right into it, and then you kind of save that step. The thing you need to remember there is that the texture paste is white, so it will dull down, tone down all the colors. So you're more likely to end up with more pastel colors. But in that case, I would start with maybe magenta, quinacridone magenta, and it might come down to this color. So that's another thing that you can put into your toolbox and use in the right application. But many times when I start a project, I don't know exactly where I'm going to go. Sometimes it starts and I just figure things out as I go. I get inspired when my fingers are touching paint. So again, the card has flipped again, and this is very bright. At this point, I step away, I take a picture of it, and I step away. Now, as you can see, the middle part I've kind of lightened, and what I'm using there is my Liquitex Basics in Naples Yellow and white. And I decide this is just too bright, it's not what the vision is in my head, so I wasn't happy with it, so this is what you could do. Alternatively, if you wanted to go with a total different color scheme, you could put a coat of gesso on there and start from scratch. So if you don't like it, there's always a way. So I'm kind of liking the more muted yellow of the Naples yellow, and I'm kind of mixing white and getting, different colors and things. Then I get the idea of, I really wanted that pink. Maybe if I take a baby wipe, I can just rub the Naples yellow off and I'll get this muted pink shining through. So as I start that, I think the muted pink now works well because the yellow is also muted. Before I had the bright, bright yellow and the muted pink, and that seemed to be a disconnect for me. So I'm just wiping it with new pages, new pieces of the baby wipe, and I'm just gently rubbing. Remember, the texture paste, gel medium, you can play with these things. So I really like the color combination here. I don't know if officially that qualifies as sunshine yellow, but it works for me. Then I'm getting out my Lindy Starburst spray, and I attempt with the pink here, this rose pink, and then I decide to go with gold. This is Blazing Sun, and I'm putting that on. I end up spraying it because I want some of that shimmer and shine. It's sunshine yellow, and it should be all so bright and pretty. And then I'm using Steampunk Sepia. For some reason, this is reading to me like it is vintage. So that's what I'm building in. So I go back and forth. I put some of the Steampunk Sepia, then some of the Blazing Gold. I let it mingle and mix, and it gives it a nice patina. You really can't see the full extent of that on the video, but it just made it look like it's some kind of antique gold ornate something. And I really like how the sepia makes it. You can kind of see the shimmer there. The sun kind of went behind the clouds, and so I'm fighting with the lighting again. And I've learned with the sprays, you just play till you get what you like. You dry, you add some more. You dry, you add some more. This video is sped up 3 times, and hopefully I'll go back to making videos and doing it in real time. This one, the commentary just got all kind of skewed, and I had lots of interruptions and noises from outside, so doing a voiceover was the way it was going to go. There you get a bit of the shine there on the side. You can see how wonderful that is. So I get out my distress ink, and I think it's walnut stain, and I'm just edging it because I am thinking, okay, the brown, I've got that sepia in there, and putting a little bit of the brown even from the distress ink. The thing I keep forgetting with the distress ink, it's not permanent. So when it comes to now gluing this on, if you touch it with anything wet, it's going to cause problems. The other thing about matte gel medium, it takes away the shine. So if you have shimmer and shine, like I do on here, and anywhere you touch the matte gel medium, even though it dries clear, it will take away the shine. So I'm trying to be very careful and not going over what will be covered by the quotation. Now I have the black in the, based on the font that I chose. If I waited till this was done, I may have chosen a different font without so much black in it, because it doesn't quite work together in my mind. So I thought, okay, if I use a darker brown around the edge, make it a little bit more distinct, maybe that will balance it out. But I do end up going back in with some black, just to tie the whole thing in. In my mind, you need, if you have the black in there, you need the black on the edge as well. And I think that's just coming right up. Or maybe I did that off camera, and yes, here I'm talking about it, where I've just used the black and the sponge to go around. And that just kind of tied it all together. So I really like the tag at this stage of the game. Here's a peek of what it was before with all the bright colors. And then close-ups of the completed tag, or ICAD, after I apply the more muted colors and kind of distress it a little bit. So if your card goes a different direction than you, sometimes you got to ride it out. Don't be afraid to put a coat of gesso on top and go back almost to ground zero. You learn things as you go. Never be afraid to experiment and have fun with it. See you for index card number 11. Thanks for joining me.